Hello everyone, and welcome back to Heroes Palace. In today's video, we thought we'd keep it nice and simple for you.
So for today, we will be discussing our individual top 5 Disney Plus shows or movies that have been released in the last 2 years.
And as always, we appreciate you watching our videos. So please, if you haven't already, give us a like, share, and a follow, because there are many videos to come in the future.
So without further delay, onto our videos, our individual top 5 Disney Plus shows or movies. Coming in at number 5 on my list, I have Marvel's What If. This animated show is kind of unique. It's a glimpse into the multiverse of Marvel. The show is seen through the eyes of the watcher, reimagining noteworthy events in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and creating a multiverse of infinite possibilities. This series explores alternate timelines in the multiverse that show what would happen if major moments in the MCU films occurred differently. What If gave us insight on different events such as what would happen if T'Challa would have been kidnapped by the Ravengers instead of Peter Quill? Or what if Ultron would have won? And one of my personal favorites, Marvel Zombies.
Yes, that was awesome.
What If was a great show.
Awesome. That was an awesome show. Alright, so for my top 5 is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, the reason this is on my top 5 list is because it does a really good job of tying in what happens after the whole Obi-Wan and Anakin thing, you know, where he basically almost kills Anakin and turns him into Darth Vader. I mean, if it hadn't been for that, he would have never been Darth Vader. So, you know, that kind of ties it all in. There are some points of the show that I think they could have done without. You know, they did a better job of telling the story of what they did, so kind of the other stuff I kind of felt like was filler. But overall, probably one of their best Star Wars series, as far as that's been tied to the actual main series. You know what I'm saying? Because there's been a lot of Star Wars series out there, but not all of them are tied to the main series. So, Obi-Wan is my top 5.
Yeah, it was a really good show, and I did like the fact of them bringing Anakin back for that one episode. It was really nice.
Right.
Fans were just like, yes. But right, the opening scene of Obi-Wan was like wow, like they really did.
They really went out on that one
really
to
did.
really tie it in, and that's why I appreciated it so much, and that's the reason why it was at my top 5.
Definitely. Number 4 on my list is Marvel's Black Widow. This is one of my favorite Marvel movies. It's set after the events of Captain America's Civil War, where Natasha's on the run for the government after breaking the Sokovia Accords. I mean, I really can't blame her. She did the right thing.
This movie's been a long time coming.
Right. You know,
I mean,
we get a look into her backstory and meet her adopted family and find out maybe there's more than one super soldier floating around out there. And we get to see Taskmaster. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch.
It definitely is worth a watch.
They really did her justice in that movie, and I'm glad. I'm really glad that she got a chance to shine.
All right, so staying with the Star Wars theme, for my number 4 is The Mandalorian. Now, a lot of people are going to give me flack for that because it's not higher than number 4, but there's a lot of shows that I think that are being overlooked that are in my top 3. And they're great shows. So we'll get to that in a minute. But as far as my top 4, The Mandalorian, as you know, if you haven't seen it, is set like
It's after
Luke,
the Rise of the Jedi,
like
the
stops the fucking
Empire, before the First Order,
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where The Mandalorian comes in if you haven't watched it. But the whole way they bring back the Mandalorians, it's awesome, dude. Like, they did such a great job with this series.
Right. It's higher on my list because I really love that
for
show.
them, okay, so this is one of the shows that Disney started off with, on their streaming on Disney Plus.
It was like the pilot.
One of their very first streaming series,
right?
And this show took over.
Yes.
Like the whole Grogu. I mean, Grogu is a national icon now. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get off the Baby Yoda shit. Okay?
Baby
It's
Yoda.
Grogu. Okay? That's not Yoda. Yoda's dead. He's long gone.
Right.
Now there are speculations that that's his son.
Well, we're gonna do something.
But
on the
you know what I'm
Mandalorian.
saying?
It's too
Yeah,
good
you
of a
know what I'm
series
saying?
not
Like,
to-
we will have a separate video on
too
some
good
of
not
these
to.
series by themselves. We plan on doing a lot for you guys. But Mandalorian, I mean, just overall, the storytelling of everything, like how he got back into the sect, and
Yeah.
like the whole bounty hunter, how he
Right.
got into Grogu, how the Empire was trying to come back, and how he like sort of prevented them for using Grogu for those matters, like, and then Ahsoka.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then a young Luke Skywalker.
yes,
like, who expected
yes,
that?
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
of course, we all saw it, like, towards the end.
Yeah.
Like, we figured that they would throw that in there.
But, I mean-
but we never saw that coming
Right.
in the beginning of the
And
series.
it's nice to see, especially with today's technology, and you know they get to continue the story the way fans who grew up on the original can actually feel a part of it.
And it really opened it up for them to do side-offs, too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I mean-
because he met freaking Boba Fett.
And see, that's the thing about it.
In
because
that one
The
episode,
Mandalorian
so-
was set after, if I'm not mistaken, I think it said after the events of Boba Fett.
It was kind of at the same time.
So they're kind of bleeding into it, so it
Yeah.
still gives you backstory. And it's
Boba
still
Fett got
touches
out of
in.
the creature about the same
Yeah.
time that Luke
So
had destroyed the Empire, and then the Mandalorian comes along. So,
it's nice. I mean, it's higher on my list.
and
you
they
know?
also have talk of an Ahsoka series coming out
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So, I mean, they have a lot of tie-ins coming off the Mandalorian. So, I think with the Mandalorian, they really outdid themselves
Yeah, they really
with
did.
this one.
They
And I
really-
think, as far as the Star Wars series, you can't top the Mandalorian. I mean,
right now anyway, they're always trying to. But
They
right
are,
now,
and like I
Mandalorian
said,
is the gold standard.
Kenobi is tied to the main series. The
Right.
Mandalorian is not. It's a
Right.
totally different story besides itself.
So it really brought in a new fan base.
It did.
Because a lot of people were like, "Oh, who's this?" Oh, and I really think it has a lot to do with once they saw Grogu, they made
It
the ties
was like a
together.
heart
It was
icon,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, well, it's in that same universe. Let me check this out. But really, hopefully, it opened their eyes. It was like, this was going on.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely different.
And
but
I
at
don't
the
think
same
Disney
time-
thought it was going to be that big of a hit either. I think that kind of took them by surprise.
Yeah. I mean, let's be fair. After the whole, what is it, the Rise of the Skywalker debacle, you know, they had to do something.
But I think we all wanted something new anyway.
Exactly.
We were tired of the main
Exactly.
story. They done drug that out over 6, 7 freaking movies.
Exactly.
And it's like, come on, guys, let's get something new. What happened after?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
never finished on what happened to everybody afterwards.
I mean, everybody just associates Star Wars with the Jedi and the Sith. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much that was going on that really had nothing to do with them. They might be crossing paths, but, you know, bounty hunters was a big thing. You know, trafficking was a big thing. Trying to get from one place to the other without the Empire finding you was
Yep.
a big thing. Like, you know, smuggling, like,
was a huge thing.
it,
right?
it was a
Yeah.
lot really going on. It wasn't just lightsabers in the Force.
No. A totally different era. I mean, at that point, Jedi were non-existent at that
Right.
point, or they were in
They're
hiding.
hiding, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, that as far as the Mandalorian, that would be the reason it's my top 4.
At number 3, I have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, great.
Now, let me start by saying I did not expect this movie to turn out the way that it did. And I expected other things to happen that didn't happen. But still, overall, I was really happy with the way the film turned out. I mean, it was great. A lot of twists and turns. And then you got to look in the side of different multiverses, which, you know, fans love. And then
Yeah.
with the introduction of America Chavez, like, that just opens up the door to multiversal travel. Like, now, look,
They're really opening it up.
the only thing...
Marvel is going all out with the multiverse at
the-
this point.
The only thing that I have to say that really made me feel some type of way was I did not appreciate they made my girl Scarlet Witch a bad guy. I don't appreciate
okay,
it.
you know.
No! Come on now.
okay.
She already lost vision. That's
So-
come on now. I mean, I understand it.
It would have been
Story-
different if they would have done it from like if it was a different Scarlet Witch from a different,
right.
you know what I'm saying,
Right.
multiverse, but
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was supposed to be the one from our
Right.
universe, and I didn't like that either. They kind of did it wrong on that one, but you know, a woman scorned.
Right. And,
know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, still, if you pay attention, you know, they never showed you her body, so she's.
And a lot of people don't realize that her magic is chaos magic.
Yeah.
So it
It's
makes
already
whoever
based-
the user is
Exactly.
mad.
It's
So-
already based off of like kind of evil, bad energy.
Right.
It is what it is.
A lot of people who get chaos magic can't control it. They end up going
I mean,
insane.
all I'm saying is, if you're a fan, then you already know she's a mutant.
Yep.
So it's different playing fields.
Yep, it
Like,
definitely is a different playing
she's
field.
like, realistically, if they would have brought Wanda Maximoff to Doctor Strange Multiverse, like, she would have got what she wanted.
Yep.
Like that.
I mean, she just made it happen.
Exactly. So, you know.
I mean, that's her magic. She can pretty much bend reality to her will.
But I mean, that was a really good movie. And Wong, like, look, you put Wong with anybody, and that's gold. Like, Wong be doing the damn thing. Like, come on now.
Right,
That's
they do.
that dude.
And look, I appreciate their step into like the multiverse with the, you know, Reed Richards,
Right.
and you know the
Yeah.
Carter, Captain America.
You get to see Professor X,
Yep.
a Black Bolt.
So I mean, it's nice to see them take that step into the multiverse and see
Right.
them branch out, and
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting to see what they do in future films.
Exactly. I mean, I know everybody's waiting for the X-Men. Everybody's waiting.
That and the Avengers, fucking the
Secret Wars?
the Secret Wars that
Yeah.
they've got planned coming in out in the next few years.
Definitely.
They've already released Phase 6. I think they've
Yeah,
already
they-
said that they were going to what
Yeah.
they were going to do in Phase 6, and I think they've kind of give hints on what they were going to do in Phase 7 already.
I mean, I just read something the other day that says something about they're going to release 45-minute episodes of each individual mutant, so you kind of get acquainted with the X-Men before
Yeah.
they drop them. So I mean, you know, if they keep
That'd
going
be
in the same
nice.
direction, you know, I
Yeah.
just want to see the X-Men and Fantastic Four
Done right.
Exactly.
I want to see it done
Exactly.
right. And if they
That's-
do them
that's
like
it.
they've been doing these other Marvel movies,
Yeah, it's-
then they might do them some justice.
Right, they
You know what I'm
definitely
saying? We're overdue for a good Fantastic Four movie.
I'm
Okay.
calling it now, though.
I'm not saying that the other ones were bad, and I'm saying they're not part. They're not accurate. Okay. Do they have to be accurate? No. I mean, there's all kinds of fanfare comic out there. So I mean, it's all upon what the viewer wants.
Right.
To be honest with you, and a lot of comic book fans want the older stuff. They want to see the true storyline.
Just a little bit of the source material.
You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit.
You
We don't
you
care.
ain't got
what
a
color.
spoon. You ain't got a spoon feed to it. But I mean, just a little bit.
We don't care. You
Just,
could be Russian, Chinese.
Right.
We don't give a damn.
so,
just you know what I'm saying? Do the comic book some justice, man.
yes, that's all we have.
You got to understand that there's a long line of fans behind these
It
comics.
shouldn't always just be about money. It should be about doing the fans that supported and spent money with you for years. You know, giving back to them. This
Right.
is your way of giving back because
And-
we love to see our heroes on the big screen.
And let's just
Like,
be honest. I mean, some of these comic books started in the 1960s.
Yeah, and for them to still be relevant, like
That's amazing. I mean, that
Exactly.
means their fan base just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Exactly.
And they are. I mean, when I was growing up, there was no such thing as comic book heroes on the TV.
right.
I mean, you might have a TV series about Captain America or the Thor series that didn't
Right.
last not even a season. You know what I'm saying? Like the most popular Marvel show that was on TV when I was growing up was The
Incredible
Incredible
Hulk.
Hulk
Yep.
with Lou Ferrigno.
Yep.
And but that's DC. I'm not going to get into DC
Well, that's
because that's
Marvel.
Batman. No, I was talking about the Batman show
Oh,
with Adam
yeah,
West and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that's what they had to compete with.
Right.
But it's still at that point in time, the fact that a bodybuilder was
Right.
making a show like that and it was
Good.
number 1 to number 2
Yeah.
in the ratings every week is amazing.
Right.
Now the other shows didn't last so good. A Captain America show didn't last very long. The Thor show didn't last very long.
Right.
So I mean, it's a toss up with Marvel.
Yeah.
For my number 3, oh wait, before I get to my number 3, there was a part in the
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange movie
Yeah.
where he's on the balcony and he's sipping wine
Oh yeah.
and he sees that explosion and he
And
just
it
kind of
jumps
rolls
over.
off the
Yeah.
balcony.
Yeah.
Bro, come on, bro.
Right.
That was That was epic.
I mean, even him coming
That was
back as
epic.
Dead Strange that she brought over there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm like, okay, Dreamwalking ain't that bad, you know.
look, like Marvel really is going all out
Yeah.
with the multiverse here. Speaking of Marvel, my number 3 is Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Shang-Chi was really well done. The actors they chose to play the characters, they did a phenomenal job. Now,
I'm glad
there
they showed
are a
the 10
few
rings.
facts in the movie that are a little off, like the fact that there are rings on his wrist and not
Right.
on his hands.
Yeah.
I mean, as a comic book fan, you can sit here and picnic for days
Right.
on what is in a movie and what's not. And trust me, we have videos about this. So be looking for those too. But I mean, like I said, as a comic book fan, you can nitpick for days, but they do this for production costs and stuff
Right,
like that.
right.
So the fact that they made it 10 rings was pretty cool,
Yeah.
and the way that he used them was pretty cool.
Exactly.
But they're not telling the full story yet,
Yeah.
and so I think there's more to come when it comes to the change as far as the 10 rings is concerned, and about how they play into the Marvel universe.
Yeah, because they seem to be more like a cosmic.
They are.
Thing.
They have cosmic power. They're I think they're considered as powerful as the Infinity Stones.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, they can pretty much do just about anything. I mean, you saw what he did in the first
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
with the rings, and that's not even a touch of their power.
Yeah. And let me just say,
I mean, Thanos was scared of the 10 rings.
let me just say that I see that Wong is popping up everywhere.
You know what I'm saying? Look, they chose a really good actor to play Wong.
They really did.
They really did. Like, he does Wong justice.
Yes, he does.
And A1. Really A1.
Also, the fact that they really showed you the 10 Rings organization, you know,
It was nice to see that finally
Right.
come because
Yeah.
they don't mention, like, 10 rings. You'll see it in our Phase 1 series, but the 10 rings actually starts in the very first Iron Man.
yeah.
Like,
That's
they
the
mention the 10 rings
organization,
in the organization. They're the actual, in the comic books, they're the ones that actually kidnaps Tony Stark.
Right.
When he actually becomes Iron Man.
Exactly.
So, you know,
But they turn out to make the Mandarin something that is really not in Iron Man 3. Like we're not gonna get into it.
right, that's like I said,
will.
we've got
We
we
will.
got the
Yeah,
Phase 1
trust me,
series
trust me.
videos
Right.
planned out for y'all. What we've
But
already
I'm
done.
glad
So.
that they kind of retconned it and really, because they do have a sentence in there that is just
Yeah.
like, okay, at least you touched base on it, acknowledge
Right.
that it was a
So I think a lot of people overlook this movie because they don't understand like
the backstory.
the backstory and where it comes in,
Right.
and it's really actually older than the Avengers.
Yes.
Like it comes in before the Avengers. Like
Right.
the Ten Rings organization is
Been around for
almost as
centuries.
old as Hydra.
Because his father is basically like an immortal, basically,
So yeah, they're probably older than Hydra.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah.
If you think about it, if you really go back in the comic books and do your research, I do believe that they are older than the Hydra organization. So as far as criminal organizations in Marvel, the Ten Rings organization is probably up there.
Okay.
Like I said, in the comic books, they're the ones that actually kidnapped Tony Stark.
Right.
So it's nice to see them finally bring that into the picture.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the reason it's at my number 3 is because this is a long time coming, and now that they're bringing it to light, I hope they bring out more
Yes, definitely.
movies that introduce Ten Rings organization because there's a lot
Definitely.
behind that.
Exactly. They need to
And
be
they
more
play a
intricate.
big
Yeah.
part in some of these wars too.
Right. A lot of shadow dealings.
Yeah.
That their names attached to.
And I wish they'd show some of that because, like, they had stuff going on behind the scenes in the Avenger and the
Yeah.
fucking, you know what I'm saying, like in Endgame and all that stuff. So
And finally, we see Abomination again. Welcome back, Blonsky. I only had to say something for you to make a return.
you know what I'm saying.
It's fine. I'll take it.
So Shang-Chi for my number 3. So number 2.
So number 2 would be Miss Marvel. Like, Kamala Khan is a superhero fan, first of all. Like, with
I mean,
an
she made a
imagination,
comic.
like out of this world, and she like loves Captain Marvel, and she feels like she doesn't fit in at home like most teenagers around her age, but that changes when she gets superpowers like the hero she idolizes. Now, I'm okay with them kind of changing her origin story because she gets her powers from a Bengal, more or less.
All right.
But it's more tied to her family, which I kind of like that tone for the show. It was more family oriented and showed us that like you lean on family for
And
support.
other than the Bengal, they were pretty accurate.
Right, like all the actors and actresses in that production did a phenomenal
dude,
job.
Again, they did a phenomenal job on casting.
Right, you know.
Phenomenal job.
So I just really enjoyed watching her superhero origin, story. Even has a little tie into her coming back into Marvels, That is a movie I'm looking forward to because I like Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what direction they're going to take her in the future. But Miss Marvel was definitely a good show. And I was iffy about watching it at first. I was like, Miss Marvel. Whatever.
No, they did a really good job on that show.
Yeah.
They really did. And I don't know, most of us are gamers. Me and him are huge gamers.
Right.
And there's actually a game called The Avengers on PlayStation, Xbox. And if you play Kamala Khan in the story mode,
Right.
that's actually what happens in story mode. You go to the convention because
Right.
you made the comic book.
Yeah.
You go to the convention center and you got to, do all this stuff. And then you meet them.
Well, in the show, it's a Bengal that's passed down through her family or whatever. Because but at the end, towards the end, though, you find out that she does have a genetic mutation
that allows her to use it.
So
right.
I'm just like, okay, at least I can deal with that.
So they kind of tied that in. Like I said, again, we have to think about how old these comic books are,
Right.
them changing it for a newer generation,
Exactly.
production costs, stuff like that.
And I mean, even the newer comic books that come out now, it has different. It's basically the same story, just different iterations.
Yeah, different iterations.
Everybody
so.
has their own, and that's the good thing about being creative.
And
You
here's
can take something and make it your own, and still give it that genuine feel.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be boring if every single book was the same. Every single movie was the same. There has to be certain elements that are new and fresh to make people want to keep coming back.
So sitting here and nitpicking at little small details like that really ain't going to do us no good.
Right.
And it's not even really going to matter here soon because Marvel's taken the multiverse to a whole nother level.
Right. I mean, realistically, like
they are taking it to the extreme right now.
There's probably so much coming down the pike for the next
nuts, bro.
10 years because we just got finished with the Infinity Saga. Now we're on the Multiverse Saga. Like Kang's coming, Secret Wars, Secret Invasion.
Yep.
Like,
You got the Ant-Man and Wasp movie.
yeah, Quantumanium.
Quantumanium, yeah.
I'm just excited. Look, I'm excited to see the Skrulls in action. Like that's what I love Skrulls.
Yeah. It's going to be nice. I really do like what they have planned.
Right.
Marvel, hopefully, they stay true to it now that Stan's gone. Because I think he was kind of their leash.
Right.
Like as far as like not going too far off script. And changing too much details into it to where comic book fans don't want to watch it.
Right.
So right now they're doing pretty good. So I hope they stay this path. I really do. Okay. So for my number 2 is a series. And a series that is really good. And I think they did a really good job on. And again, this character gets overlooked.
Okay.
In the Marvel Universe. Now, before I tell you what the series is, I'm going to say that this character is very well known in the comic universe.
Okay.
He can control Mjolnir. A lot of people don't know that because it hasn't been revealed yet, but he can control Mjolnir. And that's because of the material that Mjolnir is made out of.
Okay.
But the series is called Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Now, I think they did an extraordinary job with the character dynamics between the two personalities of Moon Knight.
Okay.
The way they played it off between him being one personality and then him being Moon Knight being a whole different personality.
Right.
I think they played that off really, 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 really well.
Somebody get that man an Oscar.
he really did a great job. I mean, I hope they use him in future films.
Oh.
Because he, as an actor, is fabulous and he's dynamic.
Even if he just showed up for a couple of scenes, I'd be all for it.
Exactly. Now, I think they also did a good job as far as depicting the gods in this movie.
The lore was really...
It really did. They kind of, like I said, again, few things off here and there, but it's small stuff. the biggest stuff, the main stuff that you would think that would be in the storyline, they kept true to the storyline.
Okay.
So I can't remember how many episodes it is, but there's quite a few. But it's a very good episode, a very good series. So if you haven't seen this series, I suggest go watching it. Because like I said, this is an overlooked character.
Definitely.
And he is part of the multiverse.
Definitely. And plays a big role in it, too.
Plays a huge role in the multiverse.
Especially in the comics, he played a huge part in the Civil War.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, you know.
Again, they changed stuff for the newer generation. So, you know, the introduction now at this point and him not being there for Civil War, I kind of understand why they would do that.
I mean, it would just been too much back then.
Because, I mean, they hadn't done the series at that point yet.
Exactly.
So it'd be kind of like,
and they were
who the fuck is this dude?
They were just introducing Spider-Man to the MCU, so it'd be kind of hard for them to introduce Spider-Man and
Moon Knight at the same time.
Come up with the plot like it. So.
Because no one's going to know who Moon Knight is without his backstory.
Right. So
and the series was his backstory.
Exactly. It was good they did it in the series.
Oh, they did a phenomenal job. So that's why it's my number 2, because like I said, overlooked character, has a huge role to play in the Marvel multiverse. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of this character, I think, to come. And I hope we do, because the dynamics between the two personalities is fabulous. Fabulous. I love it.
Well, before we move on to our number 1, do you have any honorable mentions that almost made the list?
Yeah, I mean, the What If series was right there underneath Kenobi.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the multiverse is opening up to the multiverse.
Right.
Miss Marvel was up there too.
Okay.
Miss Marvel was within my top 10. Because I think that was a really good series. They really did a good job of staying true to the storyline. And like I said, their casting right now is so on point, dude. Like,
it is.
John Favreau choosing Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man. I mean, you could have never done better.
Right.
And then Steve, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So Chris Evans is Steve Rogers, and you couldn't have picked a better Thor than Chris Hemsworth. I
think my honorable mentions would probably be She-Hulk. I really enjoyed She-Hulk. I wasn't a fan how it ended, I'm not going to lie. But overall, I see the direction they were going. But to me, and this is just my personal opinion, I felt like they kind of gave it like a Deadpool, I'm going to break the fourth wall kind of thing. Because, you know, we're watching it and she's just like at the camera. And I'm just like...
They tried to pull the whole Deadpool thing off,
I mean, I am happy they kind of stayed true to her promiscuous ways. You know? they did do that, you know, justice. But, you know,
she's not on my list because I haven't watched it yet.
I mean, it's really good. It's really good.
I've been trying to catch up on a lot. I mean, The Boys.
It's definitely a little more of a comedy-esque. But I really didn't.
I mean, it has to be comedy-esque if you've got Megan Thee Stallion twerking with you in the show. You know what I'm saying? So I am going to check it out, and eventually it will be on my list, I'm sure, at some point. It depends on how I feel about it. I haven't watched it yet, so that's the only reason it hasn't made it on my list.
Another one that almost made it on my list is The Bad Batch.
I have not. I've only watched like one or two. I've only been able to watch like one or two episodes.
I didn't put it on the list because I didn't feel I could do it justice because I haven't seen it all the way through. But what I have seen, it looks really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be like really.
So I'm definitely going to have to finish checking it out.
But I haven't been able to watch that. What are some of the other ones that have come out?
Ander. And then I haven't seen all of the Book of Boba
Immortals.
Fett. Yeah.
I mean,
Eternals.
The Eternals, my bad. Eternals is a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
I really liked it. I mean, seeing the Celestials was the best part.
That's the only reason I wanted to watch it was because it actually brings them into the light. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, that's pretty cool.
A lot of people don't know who Thanos is.
And a lot of people think that he's like the end all be all. Like, Thanos is a peon.
Not even the scariest one in the universe.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
There's some people that he's scared of.
Exactly.
So like, again.
So, but yeah,
they're opening up the multiverse for sure.
So, but my number one is The Mandalorian. So I just love this show, you know. So as we already said earlier, is after the Jango and Boba Fett. You know, the Mandalorian is set after the Empire, but before the emergence of the First Order, and it follows, you know, the lone bounty hunter who was actually hired to kidnap a child. You know, but once he didn't hand him over. Basically,
he was basically like, "Fuck the Empire."
Right? He was like, you know, hold on now, I'm a bounty hunter.
This ain't right. No, fuck the Empire. Fuck y'all.
So instead of, you know, giving them to him, he goes on the run, you know, to protect them basically, because they're being pursued by someone who wants to use him because of his connection to the Force.
Yeah.
Now the crazy thing about it is, realistically, you know, the Mandalorian just wants to go to a certain place. If you haven't seen it, I really don't want to give you any spoilers. I really want you to go see the show.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, you really definitely want to go watch it.
He really just wants to go and give penance for his transgressions of taking off his helmet.
Yep.
Like he wants to.
That's really all he wants to do is atone for his sin.
And you know, that's the dynamic of that show, is what makes it so intriguing.
It brings it all the way out too.
Like it's like one of those, you know, if this is the last thing I do, it's going to be for this reason. Like, and like we said earlier, you know, Ahsoka, Luke, you know. Like, oh my
goodness.
It's
basically a tie-in to The Last Jedi.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Twists and turns, a lot of action.
So many twists and turns. And so many surprise appearances. Like, who would have ever thought Boba Fett?
Exactly.
I mean, who would have saw that coming?
Exactly.
So, there was a lot. Mandalorian was an awesome show. And like I said, the only reason it's low on my list is because I wanted to bring focus to some other shows that don't normally get.
I
you know what I'm saying? Now.
But it was just too good that I couldn't put. I struggled with it because I was like, what do I think that, like, I could watch The Mandalorian again and again and again, and I'm like, what else is on there that I can, like, really sit down and be like, I'll get into it like it's the first time I've ever seen it.
Right.
Like, and I just couldn't come up with anything. Like, that was really good.
My number one is the show that came out right after Mandalorian, which was the next biggest series.
Okay.
And it's Loki. Now, a lot of people, you know, Mandalorian was, you know, okay. The reason I chose Loki is because up to this point in the MCU, they have already killed off 3 of the most loved characters in the MCU.
Right.
And that's Gamora, Black Widow,
and Iron Man.
Right.
And I mean,
and up to this point, there was no way for them to come back because the multiverse hadn't been opened up yet.
I mean, technically, they did kill Loki too, but they just kind of, the way they finagled him back there. But technically, Loki, and look, that broke my heart. Like,
it did.
That broke me. Like,
I love Loki. Okay, Loki is probably one of my favorite anti-heroes in the MCU universe. I mean, give all rights to Deadpool for his fourth wall breaking and for his sarcasm and his antics and his jokes and the way he takes out enemies as he's doing it. Loki, on the other hand, is a different kind of anti-hero.
Right. That's a different breed of evil.
Yeah, that's just like on a whole nother level. And I love the actor that they chose to play Loki. Like, they did Loki justice.
Yes, they really did. And the crazy thing is that he auditioned for Thor originally. And they were just like, you know, try this.
And I'm glad they gave him Loki instead. Like, they did a
casting director,
great casting job. Again, with the casting.
Exactly. Exactly.
But, okay, so Loki is the beginning. Okay, so what I mean by that is, up to this point, there was no way for those 3 characters to come back to life.
Right.
Because in Loki, the multiverse, as the one Kang has told him, at the end of Loki, if you watch Loki, I hate to do this, I know this is a big spoiler for some people, and if you haven't watched it, please go watch it anyway. But at the end, he meets Kang the Conqueror. But it's a different version of Kang the Conqueror. It's one that closed this multiverse off and kept it closed off. But Loki accidentally had it open back up. So that allowed Marvel, and that was the start of the Marvel multiverse. Without the Loki series, I really do believe without the Loki series, they can't have Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. They couldn't have the Spider-Man fucking No Way Home film. Because at this point, the multiverse wasn't even feasible because it wasn't open. It was closed. Kang had closed
Loki was the key.
Because the whole thing in Loki was Kang even told Loki, he was like, look, I closed it off because there was trading. There was, different versions of us trading with each other and swapping technology and ideas. But then there were certain ones of us, certain versions of ourselves that didn't want that. They wanted to conquer everything.
Right.
And they would take this new information, this new technology, and they would take out the other versions of themselves. And he said that was the whole reason he closed the multiverse up. And then Loki.
Yeah. Being Loki.
That's why I love him as anti-hero. Open that shit back up. And now that has opened the gateway for Marvel to bring back all those characters.
Right.
Because if you haven't read the comic books, if you're not a comic book fan, there is an infinite
number of multiverses.
Of doppelgangers.
Exactly. Doppelganger.
I mean, the What If series just touched on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because, you could line up the same doppelganger in the room and maybe only 4 of them are basically the same.
Right.
The rest of them are completely different. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And that's what I like about it. And that's what I like when, they take these different stories and throw them in different universes. It just opens up. Because everybody will want to see I don't know. When in Doctor Strange, for instance, everybody wanted to see a different version of, the Defenders. There we go.
Yep.
And it was nice seeing, even if we only got to see it for a brief second.
Even for a brief second, it was still nice
exactly.
to see. You know what I'm saying?
You could still show that and still keep the story, current and in continuity is something.
And another thing is, I like how they tied off, because they did have an episode about Agent Carter being Captain America in the What If series.
Right.
And then they had her
in Doctor Strange.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome to see them tie that in too. Yeah. So, Marvel, keep up the great work, man. Your casting abilities are phenomenal. Whoever you got casting these actors as these characters,
phenomenal
keep
job.
them. Pay them more. Okay? Because don't ever let them go, because then your movies are going to be and it's not even about the acting. It's all about the casting. You really are, truly are choosing the right characters for the cast jobs. Now, are there anything else you want to talk about as far as Marvel or Disney Plus shows that?
I think that's basically all I think about right now. Waiting for season 2.
Delving into other things, but we already did a video on that.
Season 2 of What If. Waiting for season 2 of Loki. Just
which they are going to be dropping those soon. So
we're just waiting. That's all it is.
And the movies will be dropping soon because, like I said, they've already released Phase 6, and they already said when they were going to be doing that. So hopefully
once they come out with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I'll be right here.
Right. Well, once again, thank you for watching our videos. That was our Disney top 5 shows or movies in the last 2 years. Again, we might do another one of these videos later on in about another year or so once they bring out some more shows, once this new phase drops out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because I know they plan on releasing a lot more series to come,
so
and it's going to be interesting.
I'm pretty sure they'll switch it up, and certain things that I think are great now in comparison might be horrible later on.
Yeah, exactly.
They're always stepping it up.
It's up in the air at this point because there's a lot of good stuff coming out now.
Exactly.
So stay tuned for more videos because we have tons of them for you. We do talk about Disney anime and them delving into anime. Yes. We do have a video about that. Like I said, we do have videos on the series, the Phase 1 series that we're talking about.
And then there's a lot of phases.
Yeah, there are. And
we talk about this a lot. And then eventually, I do want to talk about DC because I am a DC fanboy at heart.
And I like DC too. So, I like some of DC stuff. I don't like everything about DC, but I do like DC.
I got a lot to say about DC, so we're definitely getting to that.
Definitely.
So, leave a like, comment. What are your top 5, top 10, top 20 Disney Plus shows and movies that released in the last 20 years? There might be too many for you to even put into a list.
Might be.
Tell us what it is, all of them.
If there's a video you'd like us to see us do, a discussion you'd like to see us talk about, a topic, comment it. Let us know. We'd be glad to do a video on it. Within reason. Within reason. And as always, don't be a troll in our comment section, everybody. This is, like I said, purely opinion based for entertainment purposes.
Just
Don't
want to
be.
give our opinions and how we feel. That's it. And we
If-
just want to hear what you got to say.
I mean, let people have their fun with their fandom.
exactly.
Okay. If somebody wants to say, "Hey, this ain't how it is. This is how it is," let them have it, man. I mean, everybody's got a different version of what they want to see. That's the great thing about fictional characters.
Exactly.
So, thank you once again for coming to Heroes Palace, where the door is always open.